Happy Valentine's Day! At least I hope so. It's very much possible that this video will be posted after the holiday is over. But whatever, the vibes are still there. I've never participated in Secret Valentines before, but this time I just randomly saw a message from one of the Discord groups I'm a part of, and even though I wasn't really active there up until that point, I decided to participate. It was an announcement that they were going to do a Secret Valentine event. I think they had already had a Secret Santa event, but I wasn't a part of that one, and decided that, why not take part in this? I knew that the deadline was going to be the 14th of February, which makes sense, and I had found out about it somewhere in the middle of January, which I think is more than enough time for one drawing for one person. Besides, I was curious to draw someone's OCs or maybe some of the characters who I haven't heard of, but someone else is fond of. That's not what I usually do, so it was a good reason to try something new. In the end, I didn't actually get a person who asked to draw an OC of theirs. Instead, I had a person who asked to draw the return of the Frozen player characters Seo Jin-ho and Kim Woo-jung. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I believe it's initially a novella that had also been adapted to manhwa. I haven't actually read the whole thing, but for the sake of this drawing, I needed to read a couple of chapters, more on that later. Basically, I had a small prompt I could base my drawing off of, as well as a couple of references, but I thought that wasn't quite enough. I wanted to dig a little deeper into who these characters are and where they're from, so I had a better understanding of what I could draw. Because despite this being just a silly little Valentine's drawing, I really wanted to put my own spin into it and show what I can potentially do as an artist. I don't get to draw that many finished pieces nowadays because although my projects, my book, my animations, etc. are great in their own way, they don't require me to make complete drawings most of the time. So yeah, that was an opportunity for me, which is why I asked the organizer of the event to message the person who I was drawing for, because obviously I can't do that myself because it's a secret Valentine, and ask them whether there are chapters where these two characters interact somehow, as I really wanted to see how they do that, and whether they are a couple in the story or not. Even if it's just a ship, it's fine. I just wanted to see what kind of dynamic they have and mix it with the description I got from the one who requested this picture in the first place. So I could maybe come up with something funny and cool, yet authentic to the original story in some way. They didn't reply immediately, but I did get an answer eventually, and it was a really good one. I got a list of characters from the manhwa, went through all of them afterwards, and took a bunch of screenshots you can see on the screen right now. There are quite a lot of pictures there, and most of all, I like the frames and the chapter where Seo was sitting near some sort of a city and there were fireworks in the background. I thought, damn, maybe I could do that somehow. But then there was also a question of clothes, like, what clothes do I want? Do I actually want them to be outside or inside? I initially considered that maybe they could be in the kitchen and one of them could be cooking something while the other could be trying that food. That would be sweet. Although I wasn't sure what kind of kitchen they would actually have, so in the end I came back to the idea of fireworks and explored it more. While googling people sitting and watching fireworks, most of the time you are going to see people sitting with their backs to the viewers, and even though I do get why that is the case, that wasn't really suitable for me. I am the kind of artist who really wants to show their characters' facial expressions, because that's the most interesting part for me, which I feel like is the case for most artists. So I thought, okay, maybe I could do something a little more similar to what they had in the manhwa, and they could be sitting with their backs to the fireworks. But then, what would they be doing? That's when I remembered sparklers exist. One of them could be holding the sparkler, while the other one is just kind of sitting there, mesmerized because they do have all these fireworks in the back, but then there is this one small little firework of their own that they are kind of appreciating together. In terms of background, drawing fireworks was really tempting for me purely because of how many colors I could use. It was thrilling just thinking about what kind of messy lighting I could do. Since I finished my first Inktober and have done a couple of Hollow Knight drawings, I realized that I genuinely enjoy drawings that have really strong light that just makes the whole picture pop. Speaking of Hollow Knight and Inktober, I have videos on both topics, so go check that out as well. They're really good ones. Anyway, basically, when there is a strong source of light, it just changes the whole thing, making it a lot better and more vivid, at least in my opinion. There are still drawings that can be really pretty and good without that, like For instance, something I've drawn recently that I can remember off the top of my head is my Sona as an MLP character. I have a video on that too. The background there is very simple with some pretty basic lighting and sky. Nothing fancy. Not that I was going for anything fancy to begin with, but it's still nice that it works well in its own way. But anyway, I do think that most of the drawings I really like are the ones that have very bright active lighting that is expressive in its own way, on top of the characters themselves being expressive too. I don't actually remember ever drawing fireworks before. I probably have done that a while back, especially since in art school I must have had a couple of New Year related drawings and they most likely have fireworks within them. I don't remember doing that recently though, which is why finding a way to draw fireworks and make them pop was kind of entertaining in its own way. I chose different bright colors and was trying my best to make the characters stand out using said fireworks because the railings are dark and they're not supposed to be the focus of attention, so it's fine. And the floor is just made to kind of be there, it's not important as well. While the guys in the foreground are essential and should be easily distinguishable. I guess there are a lot of ways one could approach drawing fireworks, but the way I did it is that I would have colored lines going from the center to the sides with some additional lines of closely related colors nearby. Then I would take one of the spray brushes with white color and press in the middle. It would kind of imitate the moment when a firework pops and it's initially white, but afterwards the colors spread out around it, which is what we can see in the final piece here. There are also some smaller sparks and fireworks flying upward in the bottom half. They haven't actually blown up yet, but they're going to. Their addition also kind of creates this illusion of someone being down there sending those fireworks out. After all this has been completed, it was a bit hard to see characters still, as they have such dark clothes, and the sky is also dark. Yes, there were fireworks now, but the sky was still pretty dim, and it was a very similar color to their clothes. Speaking of the character's clothes, when it comes to Sia, the left guy, I had a choice between his long hair version and his short hair version, but since I feel like most of the story he seems to have short hair, I went with that. I don't know when he gets his long hair, it looks kind of pretty, but that's what we have here. So basically, in order to make the characters stand out even more than they already were, I added more white to the bottom of the picture and also a little bit behind them. I noticed that manhwa does this thing when the background is dark and the characters are also dark. It would add this slightly white aura around them so that they're better seen, which is actually a pretty good strategy, I feel like, especially for storytelling purposes. So I decided to implement it here as well. Besides, it doesn't really stick out that much. It just kind of looks like one of the fireworks popped quite closely to them, and that's why there's so much light behind their backs. I'm going to be honest, initially when I was looking at the designs of these characters, I kind of felt like they were very similar. I mean, they both have dark clothes, they both have dark, more so on the blue side, hair, and the eye color is almost completely the same with some slight variation. Their hairstyles are a little different, I know that now because I've drawn both of them, but from the outside, if you don't really pay close attention, they kind of look almost the same. But then again, maybe it's a me problem because I haven't really read that much anime slash manga except for Death Note and Full Metal Alchemist. But after actually drawing the guys though, I know they are very detailed. I kind of got used to my characters' design that are specifically simplified for animation because I'd known I would be animating them. And to be fair, I have always been naturally avoiding too many details, and considering my main occupation on this channel being an animator of my own story, it makes sense. Here, however, I could really appreciate how they have all these belts and pockets and jackets on top of other jackets and jackets that turn into capes and so on. And another thing is, judging by what I've read, these characters don't end up in any sort of official relationship. Maybe I'm incredibly wrong, correct me in the comments if so, but since I didn't really see them end up in any official relationship, I like the fact that even though this picture is kind of romantic and has romantic implications, as it should because that's a Valentine's picture, it still can be interpreted as just friends having a good time. I kind of wanted to have romantic vibes, but It still could be interpreted as just a cute scene with some totally frenzy friends. I'm sorry, I'm saying that and it sounds a bit funny, but I mean, generally speaking, if there is something like this going on, it doesn't mean they're necessarily in love, but they probably are. Anyway, I really like the fact that this picture can just be a pretty picture, and it can also serve as a Valentine's picture, because even though I do like all of the Valentine's fluff in terms of hearts and chocolate and other things like that, I still think that coming up with something a little more original is always better. It's not necessary, but it's just my own inner urge to kind of strive for something a little bit different, even if it's not much. Well, I guess that's all I want to say regarding this piece. I'm most likely going to record this at the time when I haven't received my drawing yet, so we are going to wait and see what my future self is going to think of the drawing she's going to get. I honestly think that basically any drawing of my character is going to impress me in a way. I don't know which of the characters is going to be drawn, or maybe multiple of them. Who knows? I don't know. I do have some descriptions and references for them. Headshots are cool, especially if they're really well made, but then again, I'm a sucker for detailed full height poses, so if there would be something like this, I would just absolutely adore that drawing, most likely. But then again, I'm not going to sit around and guess. Let's just wait and see. For you, it's just going to be a second of waiting, while for me, it's going to be around 2 weeks. So, yeah, wish me luck. Well, hello there. Here's an update. The person I was drawing for received their drawing and they were really, really happy. Here are their comments. They also got curious whether I started reading the manhwa and recommended the novel, and we discussed it a little bit. And a little later, I received my drawing, and oh my god, what am I looking at? Nyan, the character you might have seen in one of the animations on this channel, and the one who will be in the next OC creating video, is in this piece, and he's so incredibly cute and vulnerable here. I can't. Oh my god. I don't really have a script for this part. I just want to have live commentary on this one because I feel like it's gonna be much more genuine. Basically, I first and foremost, I really got curious why they chose Neon specifically, and here's the answer. And I'm gonna be honest, I am impressed by the fact that they determined his character so well just by the 2 paragraphs they had and his reference sheet. I mean, it does tell me that I did a good job at presenting him in there, but at the same time, it's still very, very impressive. And also, I'm gonna be honest, when I'm looking at this picture, I feel like I entered someone when I feel like I entered a bathroom and there is someone showering and I should immediately leave. That's the vibe I'm getting from this piece. Not in the sense that it's bad, it's definitely not. It's really, really good. In fact, I feel like it's one of the best pictures I've seen so far that were gifted. But at the same time, yeah, the pose and just how really cute and awkward this scene is. I feel like I need to leave. I feel like I shouldn't see it. But anyway, we have some chocolates at the top left corner. They're really, really good. I'm gonna be honest, and the wrapping is also really good. The flowers are cute. Neon doesn't have his vest here, but it's fine. I mean, it's not like he's always in it, so it doesn't really matter that much. There is a person in the book who he would have laid like that for, but that's probably not gonna happen, unfortunately. But anyway, I still really like him, and I like the fact that he was depicted in this way, because there are different ways to depict romance, right? He could be more macho like man, but I feel like in those moments Neon would be the vulnerable type, which is why I think it's very suitable and very fitting for him. Another thing that I want to mention here is how well they signed this piece, because they used the Happy Valentine's card that could actually exist in this scene as a form of signing it, writing from who this drawing is and to who this drawing is, which is really, really good. I really like that one, because I have 2 versions of my picture, with my signature and without my signature, And at the end of the day, I sent the one without it because I feel like my signature is kind of a little bit ugly. I mean, it is original in its own way, just purely based on how ugly my handwriting is. But, we are looking for benefits and everything here. But at the same time, I was like, oh, they probably don't really need it, right? I'm not going to bother them with it. But here, it's a really well made signature. I really like it. Anyway, it's a pretty long video already. Honestly didn't know it's gonna be that long, so I'm gonna wrap up the recording here because I still need to montage the whole thing and hopefully post it not somewhere in March. I want it to be still in February, preferably at least within a week of the 14th of February. So, wish me luck on this. So, I mean, you don't know when this video was posted, but still, I was really glad to participate, and I am actually looking forward to similar events to this one because I really like it. It is a bit of a lottery because it naturally is. It's a secret Valentine, so you don't really know whether you're gonna get an artist that could draw something you would like, or whether this artist is gonna draw that in time, and how that's all gonna go. But at the very least, you yourself can make sure you're gonna do your best, and then maybe the other person, the person you're gonna get, is gonna make you happy with their pretty piece, like it was in my case. So I'm really glad my first experience of secret Valentines and just generally secret drawing challenge slash event was positive. That was really fun. Thank you a lot for watching, and also to the people, both to the person I was drawing for and the person who drew for me. I really liked the whole thing. See you in the next video. Bye!